Mhm. Got it.
I
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm glad to be here. I have secretly always wanted to be a tour guide. Seriously, it's so nice to meet you all because maybe someday I'll join you when I retire someday when I'm 75. But just not too far away. But anyway, let's see. I wanted to just do housekeeping, a little housekeeping that we usually do before every meeting. So I'll tell you where the bathrooms are. And oops, anyway, the bathrooms are wherever they are in your house. So help yourself. And snacks, we usually supply snacks, but you're going to have to go to your own refrigerator for your snacks. So enjoy. And smoking is allowed wherever you smoke. So please, help yourself. So I just wanted to get a little of the housekeeping aside. Um, Usually, before I start any kind of group where people might share some personal things, we like to have what we call a comfort agreement. And that essentially means that we all agree to to certain things. And usually, if I have more time, I'll ask people, what that would be. But for the sake of time, since we only have about an hour today, um, usually a comfort agreement, we usually just say, take care of yourself as needed. So if you need to take a break, because we're not going to have a break in the next hour, take care of yourself. If you need to stand up, that kind of thing. Just really take care of yourself. I know that since I've been home for 3 months, sitting in the same chair at my desk at home, my office, I have to get up a lot now because, I don't have lunch breaks with my friends or meetings to stand up and go to. Everything's sitting in a chair. So I totally understand if you need to get up. And then usually we just ask people, there's an expression, one mic, one voice. So, just one person speaking at a time. As we have the mics off, we certainly want to hear from you. So if you have any comments throughout the training presentation, please just feel free to raise your hand and speak up. Susie, did you have something?
forgot to
Yes,
mention,
Susie.
everybody got in their email a 2-page document, and it's about wellness recovery action plan. Are you going to be referring to that document, Terry?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. Mhm.
so if you look in your email, it says wrap RW period R period A period P wellness protocol, and there's a document attached to that. It's just 2 pages. So, and again, there's 2 Susans here. I'm Susan Abbott. If you want to send a question in the chat, or you can just send it to everyone, but I'll make sure to ask Terry. Okay, thanks.
Okay, great. So today we're going to talk about RAP, as Susie said, and on your handout you can write in or type in as we go along and fill out certain parts of it. But so this RAP thing was designed by this woman here, Mary Ellen Copeland. She was, excuse me, her mother had serious mental illness when she was a child from age 8 to 16. And she did recover and went back home and lived a beautiful life till she was 87. But Mary Ellen, in her mid 30s, started to develop symptoms of like bipolar, manic depression, up and down moods, and was having a very difficult time. And got together with a group of friends and other people who had mental health challenges, and they came up with this program, RAP. And as it says here, it's a self-designed prevention and wellness process that anybody can use to get well, stay well, and make their life the way they want it to be. It doesn't mean that you have to have mental illness if you are doing RAP, because you can do a RAP for anything. I did for finding a job, and actually 8 years ago was when I got this job. And by using RAP and concentrating on the things that I needed to do, and we'll get through that, it really helped me to focus and to get what I needed. So RAP will help you to discover your own simple, safe wellness tools. We're going to develop a list of things to do every day to stay as well as possible. Identify upsetting events, early warning signs, and signs that things have gotten much worse. And using wellness tools we can develop action plans for responding at these times. So we're not going to have time to do the whole plan, but if you look on the handout, we're going to talk about the wellness toolkit and the daily maintenance list, and probably and definitely triggers, because I think that's really important. So before we get started, excuse me, we can talk about, I'll tell you about the wellness tools, and that is, sorry, I'm trying to get my screen to scroll down. So the wellness tools, we're going to talk to each other and develop a list of resources that we use to develop our wrap. So it can be things, I like to say it's like people, places, and things that help me to feel well. So for example, I showed a couple of people before we got started, my dogs. They're kind of like my number one wellness tool. I have a Chihuahua that is just stuck to me almost all day. He sits on my lap and he's just so loving. We've had him for about 2 years, and I have another poodle mixed dog who's sweet. So they are like, that unconditional love, my unconditional lovers. And then, I wanted to show you, I happen to be sitting at my dining room table and I have several wellness tools that I didn't even realize until just now. But candles, whoop, this is that Trader Joe's vanilla pumpkin. Lighting candles is one of my favorite wellness tools. Drinking lots of water. Wellness tools can also include things like avoiding things. I avoid caffeine because of some health issues, and I don't like the stimulation, and sugar also. I just really don't tolerate sugar very well. So wellness tools can be things that bring us great pleasure, and they can also be things that we know that we need to avoid. I work with many people who have relationships with alcohol and drugs, and so for them it would be like avoiding alcohol or avoiding contact with old people that they used with. So that's how they stay well. So how many people are in the room? How many people do we have?
We have 18.
Susie, can you see their names?
Yes. We have.
Okay, great. Because what I thought, if you could assign people, if you just assign, like say people, just go down the list and say, the first person, second person are partners.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Okay.
Anita and Barbara Demas are partners.
Okay.
Ellen Delora and Heather are partners. Jason Cohen and Kathy Lindgren are partners. Ken's MacBook and Kristen are partners. Roberto Natalini and Sharon Traeger are partners. Susan Smith and myself are partners. Sylvia and, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say her last name, Sylvia and Trisha Linden are partners.
Okay. So if you want to get your partner in the chat room, work together for the next 2 minutes or so, and list all of the things that you consider wellness tools. And you can use, sorry, go ahead.
Do we have chat rooms set up? I don't know if we do though.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But if you guys want, if anybody would like to, raise your hand and maybe we can get a list going of your wellness tools.
Oh, okay. Why don't we do it like that? Yeah. So, okay, I see Helen, your hand up.
My wellness tool is short breathing meditations.
Okay.
Breathing meditations, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Can I see everyone? I'm viewing everyone. Only only 4 or 5 people that have their cameras on. Susan Smith, what are your wellness tools? Okay, you have to unmute Susan.
Okay,
Mary-
is it done?
Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, my wellness tool is exercise and socializing and eating properly.
Nice.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I would say my wellness tools are not watching the news. I mean, I know that that is probably so important sometimes, but I find that watching the news or reading too much on the internet just really gets me going and I feel very helpless. So I find
Yeah.
that when I stop watching the news and like watch a very interesting documentary about beauty and art, that really helps mentally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to say in the
Yeah.
chat room,
That's definitely me too.
we've had
Oh,
some.
okay. We're getting some comments here in the chat room, and Jason Cohen is saying
Okay.
gardening. Ellen Delora is saying gardening up to 4 hours a day. Heather is
Oh,
saying
wow. That's wonderful.
walking my dogs on the bay. Barbara Demas is saying baking and sharing baked goods with people. That
Nice.
sounds great. Kristen is saying getting outside on a walk twice a day. Jason Cohen going for a bike ride. Heather naps. Roberto is saying, oh, I just had him here. Oh, okay. Trisha Linden saying, I'm having a hard time hearing the presenter. So maybe you could turn your microphone up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
For
sure.
Sylvia is saying, limiting news in Facebook, spending time with grandkids, and coffee. Anita is saying, having my chai in bed every morning with hubby and listening to NPR. And Roberto said also bike rides and cooking as well.
Okay, I've got another.
That's a great list.
People are by the television all the time. If you have cable, turn to the 900 channels, and it's music, every kind of music. And you can dance to it, and it's really fun. It has the 80s, the 90s, it has jazz, it has reggae, and you can pick what kind of music you want. So it's a great thing to check out.
Oh, thanks for that. Thanks for that, Susan.
Great. Well, that is a beautiful, quite robust list. So that's fantastic. So what I recommend is if you'd like to, explore WRAP, is you could get, if you have a binder or a journal, just a pad of paper, and on the top right, wellness tools. And what I've done, it's like in the beginning when I first started this, I've been doing WRAP for about 12 years now. I had like 5 or 6, and now I probably have 100 or more. And it's just as I go along almost every day, like just something that I appreciate. Like right now I'm sitting in, my back door is open and there's a really nice breeze. And so I'll put that on my list. It's like this is making me happy in the moment. And so it really starts to bring your mind to appreciating some of the things that, get me through, each hour. One of the, I was talking to Susie earlier about, I saw something from the Wall Street Journal this morning, and they were talking about how the United States is really starting to, we're moving into like a mental health crisis period of time because of the, the effects of isolation for the last 3 months, which I think we all can relate to. So this is why it's so nice that you invited me today, because I think this is so important to start to really think about how we can take better care of ourselves, because we really do need to take care of ourselves. But they were talking about how, between the housing, people may be losing their housing, people have lost their jobs or their incomes. And with that, they may have lost benefits or don't even have benefits. And then as Susie said, the the George Floyd horror, which set me for a turn for a downspill or whatever, just a really bad dive, I should say. It really got me. So I've found that I've really been having to take extra care and really look at my wellness tools and utilize them. So after we write up our wellness tools, let me show you that a list that the wellness, what do you call it, Copeland Center. Mary Ellen Copeland is the creator of this. So this is the Copeland Center. So here's the wellness tools that they've listed. And we got a lot of them. So lots of people said diet and exercise. And I listened to relaxing music. I listened to positive affirmations. Is anybody familiar with Louise Hay? She's fantastic to listen to because she does, yeah, you know that. She is, I used to have a calendar, a daily calendar that was great that had, positive affirmation per day. I still have some pasted on my desk. It's like, one is, I love my job. My job is, important to me. So that's nice to have. I had a friend who had cancer many years ago. And when I went to visit her, she had a staircase up to her house. She had affirmations all lining the wall on the staircase. My body is strong. I am healing. All of these wonderful affirmations. And she recovered. And I really feel like, it was her, positive thoughts and her positive energy that really helped her.
Yeah.
We have meditation every evening and drink herbal tea, coffee meetups. People talked about coffee. I make time to watch a movie. I have watched too many movies now. Netflix. I think I broke Netflix. I've watched so much Netflix. I do homemade beauty treatments and try to be kind to myself. So, so here's some of the wonderful tools that we see here. Any comments so far? I don't want to keep doing all the talking.
Well, we had a few more. Ellen Delores said drawing and
Oh,
painting.
beautiful.
And Ellen Delores said symphonies. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That's very
Oh.
important.
Cool. Whoops. So
Getting outdoors.
I,
Getting outdoors is really important. And I don't mean just walking around your neighborhood.
Mm.
We are allowed to go outdoors. So you can either bike, like our whole area, like if you live in San Francisco, a lot of my friends are walking in the Presidio, they're walking at Chrissy Fields. There are beautiful nature all around us. If you live in the East Bay, it's just filled with parks. And walking along the coastline, we're very lucky to have decent weather and outdoors, and it really does make you feel good.
Mm.
that's a really good point. I know the first month of quarantine, I didn't go out really at all. I mean, I have a backyard, so I would sit outside, but I didn't go anywhere. I think I went to the grocery store once, but I just really, then the last couple of months, I've, gone for car drives, go down to as close as I can get to the beach because they're close. One of my greatest places to visit with the dogs is Fort Funston, and that's been closed. So that's heartbreaking. But yeah, it's great to know that there's other places to go and walk. And now that some of the outdoor dining opened on the weekend, I've definitely I did go out on Sunday to a place in Pacifica, and I'm definitely going this weekend because it's my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
It's my birthday.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kathy
June 12th
Lindgren,
when more stuff. What's that?
sorry. Kathy Lindgren said sitting at my sewing machine and being creative.
Oh, nice. Go. That's an important one too. Creativity.
Uh-huh.
I was looking for something I made. Here's another one of my wellness tools. I have a picture of my adorable 5-year-old great niece right here next to me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's all these wonderful things that we can do. So sometimes it really helps to have them written down because when we get to another part about triggers, we can go back to wellness tools and see what can help us when we're being triggered by an event or a person. But right now we're going to talk about the daily plan, the daily maintenance plan. And there's a couple of parts to the plan. And the first part is we just kind of identify, what am I like when I'm at my best? What do I, look like? What do I look like physically as well as emotionally? And then just kind of socially, all of those things. So for example, when I'm at my best, I'm punctual, I'm very social. Usually I don't have earrings on today because nobody can really see them. But when I'm at my best, I always have matching earrings, or I have jewelry on. I really like jewelry. And so this way, it's kind of like I have a baseline. I kind of know what I'm looking like when I'm well.
Mm.
And then if I'm not doing those things, I can say, oh, I'm like, one of the things I do is when I'm not feeling well is avoiding phone calls. I avoid friends that are calling. It just seems like it's too much and I can't pretend. And so I don't take the calls, or I don't make dates. I don't make appointments with my friends. And so that's definitely, something for me to be aware of, is if I'm not doing that, I'm not at my best. And when I'm at my very best and I'm looking at my porch right here, I have flowers in the flower boxes, and I don't have flowers in the flower box. So that's something for me to be aware of, is to, that's one of the things I really enjoy, but I haven't been doing it. So being aware of that, it's like, yeah, well, that's something I really want to work on, is getting flowers back in the flower box. So would anybody like to identify or to share with us what you're like when you're at your best?
What you're like at your best. Now, there's just a few other comments here from Ellen Delora. Come visit the Lakeside Community Garden in Oakland by Lake Merritt. She's usually there from 9 to 10 in the morning. Kristen said having dogs really makes life good because you focus on them, not yourself. Anita says having a routine. Kristen says each night I write in my thankful journal list things I am thankful for each day. So as far as a daily routine, I think for me it has to be exercise. If I exercise, even if it's for 20 minutes, it helps me get my head, and just helps me feel like I'm in control of something, So that's a good daily routine.
Yes.
Jason Cohen says volunteering, getting outside our own difficulties. I think that's a wellness tool.
Yeah.
People can write in anything right now as far as what they do as a daily routine. Is that what you're asking, Terry?
No, what do you look like when you're at your best?
Oh, I'm sorry.
When you're well, when you're
at your best.
No worries. And if people want to unmute and talk to us, that would be fine too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they just unmute themselves? We have 17. It's not like we're overwhelmed.
Okay.
So,
Susan? Yeah. Okay, this keeps me busy almost every day. I started an exercise class at my condominium complex. I saw it on TV, the Italians were exercising from the balconies, and I thought that's a great idea because I have a courtyard in the balcony. I started an exercise class. It's 2 days a week at noontime, and the night before, I send out little cartoon flyers to remind people to do it. And that takes me a long time. Doing exercise. And so it's been really fun, and it's made a routine for me. Like I feel like I'm still working because I feel obligated to do this, make everybody have fun. So that's what I do.
Thank you so much.
The microphones are open on this end, so if you want to speak something, unmute yourself on your own computer.
And some people don't have your video on, so I don't know if I can call on you if I can't see you.
Well, Susie, I don't have a camera on my monitor.
Okay, Sylvia is saying, at my best, I am productive, positive with plans, and enjoy to interact with others.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything to add to that? Helen? Yeah?
I would think at my best is when I'm getting enough sleep. I always feel my best when I get up in the morning and I exercise, take a shower, and kind of get myself together. Terry, I like your idea of I like to be dressed and have some. I mean, I've been wearing lipstick since day one, mask or not. I still like my lip. I like my red lipstick, and often I'm wearing red lipstick is when I'm at my best, and yeah, staying in contact with friends and being in action, I think, is when I'm at my best. I really like to be in action and things. That way.
It sounds like a common characteristic in order to be a tour guide.
Yes.
I've heard that from my guys. It's like, gotta be busy. Great.
Yeah.
Good. So again,
Which is why this is hard. This staying at home all the time. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh. But this is, as I said, it's a great baseline. And when we do a lot of rap groups, and it's a very bonding experience, as you can imagine, because people really start to share some real, important things in their lives and all of that. And what happens is it's really cool because we get to know each other. And then in the old days when we saw each other at work, if I wasn't wearing earrings, somebody might say to me, "Oh, you don't have earrings on today. How are you doing? Are you doing okay?" Because I know you said that that's kind of one of the things that you always wear earrings. And it's like, you know what? Thank you. I guess this morning I just wasn't, I don't have my poopy together. So, but it's very supportive. People can support each other in recognizing sometimes, I might recognize somebody's, not at their best and they're not aware of it. And so it's a great way to support each other. So the second part of the daily, oh, go ahead, please.
Let me just say a few comments here, because some people don't have mics on their whatever device. Ellen Dolores said, I found myself not dressing until late. Now I do a shower and dress right away, wear earrings, etc. And I like to make cards and scan and send to my friends. And Anita Rao said, expressing my truths with patience and compassion.
That's a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Yeah.
So we're gonna get to triggers too, right? I got a few.
Oh, yes, we are. That's my favorite topic. So the second part of the daily maintenance list, and actually this is one of my favorite parts of RAP, is writing down all the things that I need to do every day to keep well, to stay well, and at my best. So for me, example is, lots of water. Excuse me, I had to, as soon as I saw it, I had to have it. Things that I need to do every day is take medication. I have different things that I need to take medication for. So having to do that. I found that especially during this period that my sleep has been so screwed up because I love to watch TV at night in the bed. And my husband goes to sleep and then I'll stay up for hours because I don't have to fight over the control, the remote. So I stay up sometimes till 2 or 3. And that just screwed up my sleep so bad. So one of the things I have to do every day is to make sure I go to bed the same time and get up the same time. Because my circadian rhythm was so off. I mean, I didn't get to sleep till 4 o'clock in the morning. And, working from home hasn't impacted it too badly. But, when I had to get up and go to the office, it's like if I go to sleep at 4 in the morning, I have to get up at 7. That is horrible. I feel sluggish all day. And yeah, so that's something I really have to be pretty strict about, is getting to bed at the same time and getting up at the same time.
Yeah.
Would anybody like to share what you have to do every day to be well?
I find that I've gotten better sleep since this shelter in place, because I'm not, when I would go to bed, I've got a tour the next day. I'm thinking about, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to be here at this time. And now I find I don't have to be anywhere, so I can sleep.
Mhm.
So,
Who is speaking?
that's Kathy.
Kathy.
Linda.
Kathy. I thought that was
Yeah.
you, Kathy. Okay.
Thank you, Kathy.
Oh, thank you. Are you?
I think for me, it's important to get up out of bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. That's true.
I had a very, very hectic schedule for a long time. And then when this hit, I kind of went from one extreme to the next, to the other, and
Mhm.
laying around way too much. And it was not healthy,
Yeah.
not healthy at all. So now I
Yeah.
just get up and plan my day. I'm sort of in a new mode, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's true. You have to
Yeah.
get up, take your shower, eat your breakfast, do your exercise, and have a goal for the day. I find that your mind is much more alert in the morning. So if you like to write or you like to do certain things, your mind is really good in the morning. As the afternoon progresses, you start getting a little lazy. So probably best to start out fresh in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you, Susan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I find that some of the things that I do is actually I make lists of things I want to accomplish during the day. So always on my list is walk my dogs, because if I don't walk my dogs first thing after I have my tea and my breakfast, if I don't walk them, they drive me crazy. I have 3 dogs, and so um, if that's not done, then I have to do that. So walking my dogs is always on the list to do. But
Yeah.
then from there, then I try and accomplish at least half, if not all of the list every day. Because if you don't,
Yeah.
if I'm not doing something, I feel unproductive, no matter whether whether it's just sitting and doing something on a Zoom meeting, or even if it's, cleaning the house. Or one of the things I've enjoyed doing is looking through cookbooks and cooking different items for dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're Kristen. If you guys could just say your name before just so we know.
Oh, sure. Yep.
Thanks, Kristen. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barbara, and I've been enjoying signing up for webinars like this one, and also taking other classes. Having like something to do at a specific time has been helpful for me to organize my day around that. Oh, I need to be dressed by noon today if I want to appear on camera at my Zoom meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also scheduling little
Yeah.
Zoom happy hours with friends. Although that's kind of dropped off lately. We've been doing fewer of those, but initially we were doing like almost every night we were meeting with friends online. That's been helpful.
Yeah. 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 It's so important for us. I mean, when they say social distancing, I know a lot of us call it social connection and physical distancing, because we don't want to socially distance. Physically we want to distance, but we want to stay connected. So that's great. I know the first Zoom party I did, it was somebody's birthday, and it felt so weird. It felt so weird. But now it's become like, oh, this is great. It's a great way to connect. So thank you everybody for your shares. That's great. So now we get to Susie's favorite topic, I think, is triggers. Triggers. So triggers are things that come at us, right? So they're events or circumstances that set us off balance. I always like to use the one where, you run into your old boyfriend who's with his new gorgeous girlfriend or partner. And it's like, damn, I wasn't ready for that. So what we want to do is identify the triggers, things that set us off. And then we're going to talk about how to respond to these things. because reacting is in the moment and it's not thought out. And a response is something that we've given thought to. So we can talk about triggers, and the triggers that we have an example of is, getting into arguments with a loved one. Susie, you mentioned the news, and that's one of my huge triggers. I do want to keep informed, so I only watch either the 5:30 or the 6:30 news, the national news, and that's all. And I end up crying almost every time because it's just heartbreaking. But I allow myself to do that because, and we'll talk about triggers action plan. But yeah, I'd love to hear some other triggers for individuals.
Yeah. Well, I think it's I just have a hard time when somebody is very strong at me about a certain opinion.
Mhm.
And I start to want to knee jerk, react, and then the next thing you know, there's this tension and an argument going on, and I just don't want that, So, but then at the same time, I can't just bottle everything up. So I don't know. Maybe I just got to walk away. I don't know. Well, like Anita was expressing my truths with compassion and everything, but I think that's good. But to be honest, sometimes it takes me a minute or two to get there. So maybe I just got to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah. That would be an action plan, yeah. Well, we all hear about that, like especially on Facebook. A friend of mine just posted like 2 days ago. Her sister has very, very, very opposite political views from her, and they just apparently had a terrible experience on Facebook together, and so it's kind of like we'll talk about action plan, like how am I going to respond to these things, but it's important to know what triggers you. So sometimes we can't know, we might be triggered in the moment and didn't know that was going to trigger us, or it reminds me of another time, a different situation that I got triggered. But it's good to develop, we can start pulling out of the wellness toolkit, see if the things that we listed might help, and if not, come up with a very specific action plan for that specific trigger.
Oh, I think that's.
But would anybody else like to? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We have someone on the chat room that says, Anita says, misunderstanding relating to race relations, culture, and lack of acceptance. That's a trigger for her. Jason Cohen says, having someone say something negative about me, example, a negative written comment on a tour evaluation is a trigger. Yeah, and that's very true. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Yeah.
As tour guides, that is I mean, relating to tours too, people can.
Well, and it's.
They have, yeah.
Yeah, and it goes for me too. That's I hadn't really thought of that, but that is kind of a trigger for me. But I've definitely got a plan for that. But because I do a lot of trainings and I send out evaluations, and sometimes it can be so opposite of what I thought had happened. It's like I thought it was wonderful, or I thought it went smoothly, and somebody will say something negative, and it's like, oh geez, ooh,
Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah.
Guides, yes. Yeah. Helen had.
I would say kind of intense emails, or sometimes emails can land in your world that you have one meaning, you read it one way, but it's sent another way, or vice versa. And texts go that way too, where one word could just be read as insensitive, and really someone's didn't realize it came off that way, but something like that can really trigger and get you going.
Yeah, definitely. It's that misunderstanding thing too.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
And I also want to say the amount of dishes that I have to do every day is a trigger for me.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Oh my gosh. Sylvia is saying injustice, hypocrisy, lies.
Yeah.
Triggers.
Big one.
Ken Ruda said people who lie. Anita
People
Rouse
who
said
lie.
people who lie. Anita
Hmm.
Rouse says misconceptions of who I am because of the way I look or my personal background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are fabulous triggers. And we can talk about action plans next, because this is, I think, where the meat is. So let's talk about the evaluation, because it seems a couple of people had that, and I have that myself. So when I get an evaluation back that is not as favorable as I would like it, I can react and, you know, sit there, and if it's a physical evaluation, tear it up or scream or go, God damn it, blah, blah. But what I've started to do is to look at it with appreciation, because it helps me to grow. I mean, if it's really, sometimes it's so far out there, it's like, what are you talking about? You know, and I'll check it out with maybe somebody else who was there, and they're like, no, that I don't agree. But you know, I kind of have an attitude of appreciation. First of all, they filled out an evaluation, because a lot of people don't, and they took the time, and you know, maybe looking at it differently. It's like, okay, well, you know, they said this about me, and I'm going to look at that next time, because you know, obviously somebody had a feeling about, you know, my presentation or whatever I had done. So that helps me. Does anybody have anything that's working for you right now when it comes to getting an evaluation, or something
Well-
that's said about you that's unkind or not favorable?
Well, I think for me, I would say that I feel it. I feel the sting, and it doesn't feel good. But then, like the breathing, sort of the techniques you do to take a moment, the 90-second breathing, and then I think this complaint or this evaluation doesn't define me.
Mhm.
It's not a definite. I don't have to it as far as how I see myself as a tour guide. You know, I feel like I can separate myself from it, and I start to calm down. Yeah. So that helps.
Thank you. Yeah, deep breathing. That's probably an action plan for every trigger. Is the first thing to do is take a couple of deep breaths, and that is so effective, and it really does, you know, switch your mind. It can really help.
So if someone says something negative about me or misunderstands something that I've said, it definitely hurts.
Mhm. Yeah.
Thank you for something that you did. And
I can't hear.
Susan, we're having a hard time hearing you.
We can't hear.
The mic.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
So sort of a week.
I try to mull it over in my mind and try to say it like if somebody said that to me, what would I think? So I try to put it out of my mind how I could say it better. And me. I have a friend that clams up if she doesn't agree with me. And I say, I can always tell when you don't.
Can't hear you.
Working.
Maybe you can type it. Maybe you should type on the chat room. That might help. Let me just read a few. It says, Trisha Linden says, remember, it's not personal. It's not personal. Also, you cannot control how others perceive you.
Mhm.
Anita Rouse says, an open conversation if possible with that person. Ken's MacBook, Ken Ruda, try to understand why the comment was made from their viewpoint. That's from How to Win Friends and Influence People, Ken. I read that recently. Kristen says, looks like two people are talking at the same time. Oh, sorry. Okay, Helen, you had your hand up.
One thing that I've learned when I do this, especially when I'm speaking to people and I'm triggered, is just to own it. Like, what you're saying is triggering me, and this is how it is for me. And, you know, and just owning it. And sometimes I find that that can really be a whole take the conversation to a different level. And I just kind of own some stuff, and instead of, and I find it kind of diffuses my escalation of being triggered.
That's good.
Great.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I think I like
What
what
if-
you said, Terry, about
Oh,
being specific. Having, if you're triggered in a certain way, maybe as far as current events are concerned, to have it, to know what is your specific trigger and know and have a specific tool to handle it.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, because we can have general, like for a lot of the things that we mentioned, you know, getting an argument with a relative or, you know, the news, whatever, we can have, or not the news, but standard, you know, things that that we can set up and try to respond in that way. Yeah, for current events, I too, like, you know, really limit the amount of news that I'm watching and news that I'm taking in, because it's just way too upsetting for me right now. I really wanted to participate in some of the demonstrations, but because of you know, COVID, and I'm at risk, and I also have some mobility issue. You know, my knees hurt, so I just can't do it. You know, and I accept that. You know, I was sorry I couldn't participate, because I used to be in a lot of demonstrations over the years. So I'm missing this one, but I accept that I can't do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's one action plan that I wanted to share with you, that is called the opposite action, doing the opposite action. And I use this a lot on my husband, because, you know, I'll get triggered. I don't say he triggers me. It's like I get triggered by certain things that he might do, and I want to yell at him. So what I do is the opposite. I'll either compliment him or something, or just say something nice to him instead of what I planned on saying. And it really changes the dynamic, you know. I also do that, you know, somebody mentioned, I think Susie mentioned, you know, getting out of bed sometimes is hard. I have a very hard time getting out of bed many mornings. And so I just do the opposite action. I want to lay there and I just say, okay, I'm going to get up, open the curtains, make the bed, and doing the opposite. So it's just really, you know, again, switching the brain. Is the dog barking too loud?
We can all hear it.
You can't hear it?
I can.
Oh, can. Okay, I'm going to close the door. I'll be right back. Sorry, go ahead. Go on. Other people share your action plans. Hey.
Does anybody else have anything to contribute how they handle it when they feel they're getting triggered? Oh, good. We got a bunch of cool cucumbers. I like that.
She's back.
What do you do? I'm imagining that you might have on your tours, you might have people that might be annoying or Um, you know, I don't know. Does that happen sometimes? You have people that on the tour that maybe they just won't stop talking, or whatever.
Oh,
Does
no,
that ever happen?
never happens.
Oh,
Everybody's
yeah.
perfectly nice. Oh, but
Uh,
Ken says, smoke some weed, man. He says, go for a walk together. I mean,
do it.
at ITMI, that's a school a lot of tour guides have attended. They do a whole day on role playing for people that we've all learned a lot of skills for that.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can imagine how difficult that would be to have somebody who just won't be quiet. It's like, please stop talking. Why don't I just give you the mic? That's what you want to say, but you don't because you respond because you've practiced it, right? So really practicing your action plans and using your wellness tools is really, exercising a muscle. It's that muscle that needs to get exercised because it's, we function much better. We, get along in our life much better if we don't react to everything like, in a boxing match. It's like, I'm going to sit here and breathe. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to use the opposite action. One of the wellness tools I forgot to mention that I usually mention is my cell phone is one of my greatest wellness tools because that's my link to my friends. I can call for help. I can call for, to vent. I can call to support. It's got my pictures and my videos. Now it's got Zoom, although I looked horrible. Every wrinkle I've ever had in the past and present shows. I don't know what the hell's up with that, but I don't like to Zoom on my cell phone. It's got games, that I love to play, but I also have to limit the amount of time because I could spend hours playing Scrabble or, Words with Friends. And, that's definitely not good. So, putting a limit on some of my wellness tools too is important. Just like, drinking wine. I love to drink wine, but, I have to be careful and set my limits because I could, especially now, they said that, what do they say? Alcohol, the sale of alcohol has risen like 40% during this quarantine. It's like, wow. Yeah. Good. So we have a couple of minutes left. Let me just go over early warning signs if we're done with triggers.
Sure.
And so early warning signs are more of internal signs. They are things like, for me, a good example is, again, BC, before Corona. When I went to work, I'm the kind of woman, I don't go out without my makeup. I would never go to work without makeup. I haven't worn makeup in 3 months now. And it's kind of revolutionary.
Me too.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. But I would never leave the house without wearing makeup. And, I get in my car, always take down my mirror while the car's warming up and look and check my teeth for spinach or anything. And one day I'm like, oh my God, I don't have any makeup on. And it was just mesmerizing that, one of 20 minute routine of my day, I just skipped. It's almost like leaving the house without pants on. It would be like, what is happening with me, So early warning signs can just be, you're not heading towards a crisis necessarily, but really time to pay attention. So, like forgetfulness, sleeplessness, or, really trouble sleeping if that's not, I always have trouble sleeping, but that's not a good example. Maybe change in appetite, if I want to eat more or not really eating very well. So any kind of changes like that are kind of subtle, but important to pay attention.
Absolutely.
An example here we have is paying bills late. I know I've done that before where I just put it off. And so it's like, well, what's that about? Because, I'm usually pretty good about paying the bills. Plus, if I'm late, I don't want to pay those fees. But sometimes that's happened, and I know that I need to start paying attention. It's like, what's going on here? You know, so it's really taking good care of yourself, really getting to know yourself, and make notes and look for help if you need it.
Right.
Yeah. The other parts of WRAP, the really cool part is the crisis plan, but we don't have time to do that. But on the handout, you'll see, and this is, you can access it as you need to, but it's really, this is more directed to mental health, but it's just really, it's like an advanced directive. So, you know, in the event that something happened, like I have an earthquake crisis plan, which we should all have, you know, it's who's going to take care of this, who's on my phone tree, you know, how am I getting in touch with my family if you know, if I'm somewhere else and my husband's at home, how am I going to reach him? You know, so it's really breaking it down to who am I going to use? Do I have my support people on my phone, or do I have their numbers written down? It's like, you know, all that kind of stuff. Do I have enough food, you know, at the house? We all kind of went through this. The beginning days of COVID was running to the store, getting toilet paper, you know, that kind of thing. I couldn't get a chicken for 2 weeks because people were hoarding chickens. And now I'm like obsessed with chicken. It's like, I want a chicken. I want chicken right now. I want some chicken. But it's great to line, you know, to really be prepared, have things written out and share it with someone, because, you know, my neighbor is retired. He's older. He's at home, and you know, he's definitely our go-to guy if something, you know, if I couldn't get home for whatever reason, he could come in the house. He's got the key, and he can feed the dogs and take care of the dogs, and you know that, because that's one of my main concerns. But having that all written out and have that understanding, and if I need support from other people, letting them know that, you know, so that, you know, I feel like it's like a GPS. It's kind of like, I always like to have the old style, you know, paper map in the car. I have one in the trunk, because there's been a time or two when my GPS, my phone service, you know, wasn't working, or my battery died. And if I didn't write those directions out ahead of time, or have a pretty darn good idea where I was going, it'd be like useless, you know. It's like, where am I going? So I feel like that crisis plan is really the same way. It's like, I don't want to be stuck out in the woods with no cell service, and I didn't write my friend's address down in the Russian River, and I don't know how to get to her house. So I can't call her because I didn't memorize her number, you know. So just thinking things out so that I'm not putting myself in a horribly stressful situation. So a crisis doesn't have to be, you know, the house burned down or you broke your leg. It could be, you know, driving somewhere and you don't have the directions, and that can feel pretty, you know, pretty awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's WRAP. I mean, there's parts of it we haven't gone over. Usually we do this in an 8-hour training. We spend the whole day, sometimes 2 days, depending on the, you know, the thing. But we have, we offer WRAP groups. I will send you my website, our website, and I'll send Susie, I'll send you an email with that information, and you can email that out. But I'll send you, you know, our website. We've got a lot of great groups going on right now. One of our expertise is working with people with hoarding and cluttering issues. So if you know anyone who has hoarding and cluttering issues, we have lots of support groups for that. Also for family members, because it can be very, very difficult to be, you know, to live with someone who has hoarding and cluttering issues. We have support groups now, something new with people on the autism spectrum, a support group for that, and that's pretty well attended, and all kinds of other supports, depression, you know, support with depression. And as an agency, we've been doing, with a really great idea, just twice a week having coffee breaks together. It's just called virtual coffee break, and whoever's available, you kind of check in. You can check in for 5 minutes. I think they hold it for 45 minutes, and it's just to talk about anything. You don't, you know, it's not concentrated on work. You can talk about, you know, fun stuff or anything you want. And it's a really nice way for people to connect and to stay connected. So that's one of the things that we're doing over at the agency. And then I'll also include the Warm Line. Susie mentioned that. That is our 24-hour, 7-day a week emotional support line. And the phones have been ringing off the hooks. If you know anybody who's interested, and maybe yourselves, if you like to talk to people and feel like you could do that, the Warm Line, people can call up to 3 times a day for 20 minutes and just have somebody to listen to. And I just started working on the line just to help out about 2 months ago. I have 4-hour shift once a week. I'm amazed at how many people call because they just don't have somebody to listen to them. I mean, it's just heartbreaking. It's so they call and they just my very first call, a woman called and said she's been writing a lot of poetry because she's in isolation and she's alone. And she asked if she could read me her poems. I'm like, sure. And that was just lovely, and people just need someone to listen. So I'll send that information. You can share that with your friends, family, whomever. And yeah, so any comments or any thoughts, any questions?
I would like to just have a comment and kind of a question for the group here, and ask you if, just thinking here, I thought, Susie, this might be a great forum to create for the members, a wellness forum where we can have, if Terry, if you could send us some links, and if people want to share moving forward, this would be a great way to share it with the membership to keep this going.
Great, yeah.
Cool. Great.
Thank
Great.
you.
Yeah, thank you. Excuse me.
Mics are open, so Susie, I'm gonna let you do what you got.
Let's see. Jason says, thank you, Terry. Anita just had one comment about dealing with people on your tour. She said, what does she say here? Sorry. I have often asked those talking to speak softer so that others can hear. And then the rest of the group, they get the stink eye from the other passengers, and voila, quiet. And so Jason said thank you, and I know that, Kristen said, I know that not everyone is a member or affiliated with a church, but I know I have used the church as a resource to talk to someone or to get help. So that's been good. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great wellness tool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And please send and share the information. We will do that, Ken. And Anita said, I think the idea to listen to folks is fabulous. Yeah. And Sharon Traeger says, thank you all. Very interesting.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So,
Susan has something to share.
Susan,
did you want to share something?
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe you could type it since
Anyway,
you're having a connection. Oh, thank you.
Right?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I also want to say this, Susie, and everyone, that we have this great technology now, and we have a great group membership, and we could always start a coffee clutch. I always love that term. Couple times a month or whatever for a half hour or so, and just have people check in and call in and say hey if they feel it. So we could do that ourselves as well.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Terry. Yeah. This has been really good. This handout just helps me a lot to remind me what I need to do, because I think they work together. The tools help to deal with triggers. It's sewn together. So thank you so much. Sylvia says thank you. And yeah. Kristen says thanks. This is really nice to be able to talk or listen to other ideas on how they are dealing with things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we need each other, right?
Right. And Barbara
Right.
Demas, Helen, I think this is a great idea, a coffee clutch.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Terry,
think that's
this is
great.
great. I want to thank
Well, thank you
Terry
all.
for taking time out of your day to do this. We really super appreciate it. Yeah.
Absolutely, and you've been wonderful. I really appreciate the participation and some great ideas, and I wish you all very well. And I look forward to being on your tour sometime, or being your
Yeah.
partner on a tour, maybe. So,
And,
okay.
Terry, as president, I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to come be with us. It's really makes a difference. It was such a great hour, and I look forward to sending this off to our greater membership so they all have the opportunity to listen to this and watch it. You're always welcome back, please. This is just
Oh, sure.
one nugget of a huge, one kernel of a huge cob of corn, and we'd always love to have you back. And please, you're welcome to our events. Come join us in our online events or any of our talks.
Oh, how
You're
fun.
welcome.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Is there anything
Here.
Ray? Are you good?
I'm good. I think we're all good. I want to thank everybody for coming, and thank you, Helen, and everybody. Thanks.
All right. That's
Okay.
a wrap, kids.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I'm going to go hug a tree. Okay. I need to get my wetness on.
You're gonna have a new wellness tool.
There you go.
Susie, we can check in later.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye, Terry. Thank
Bye.
you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm going to end the meeting for all of us here.
Okay.
Thank you.